Greetings, everyone. Welcome to episode 39 of Lines on the Page. I am your host, Tom Price. And as you can obviously tell, not in my house tonight. I'm actually back at Haven Comics, and I'm trying to do something a little bit different with my two camera setup because I wanted to see if I could get a better angle with the overhead cam. I think it looks good. And of course, my sketchbook right here, which I will talk about that later. But first, I'm going to do quick housekeeping stuff real quick. Haven Comics, located 1871 Slaughter Road in Madison. And please remember to like and subscribe. That helps us out immensely. I'm not saying that just to say it. It really does help, especially when people comment and share whenever we just happen to go live. And of course, if you want to find me on social media, you can find me through this link tree, or if you, there we go, at tpriceartworks, where you can find me on social media, on basically every social media outlet, and also including Patreon. I'll get to that part close to soon. So the reason that I have my sketchbook out between the lines, which by the way, you can get these at Haven Comics. I thought that the sketch that I did for Calvin and Hobbes when I was piecing this thing together did not make it in here. And I was a little bit surprised and also a little bit irritated at the same time. But at least the Dexter Laboratory sketch made it, and it's at the very end of it. But I was trying to find my sketch that I did probably a couple of years ago, and it's somewhere. I know it exists in my hard drive. I gotta love stuff when it's unlisted. Hey, Jay. Hello, Bill. Yes, don't forget to smash that like button. Be nice, Bezos. And yeah, so Calvin Hobbes. This was actually a comic series that it was definitely a little bit late in the game for me. I didn't actually start reading it until probably at some point in the 90s. And of course, I think the strip ended around 95 or 96, which apparently Bill Watterson was infamous for like taking these extended sabbaticals, basically, which was completely unheard of in the syndicated realm of comics. And Charles Schultz, who apparently is one of Watterson's heroes, basically said Watterson was being lazy, which, ouch. So I wanted to do something a little bit different today. I thought it was to do a syndicated comic character that I love, that I enjoy, and has definitely kind of kept itself in the world of being timeless. And I was thinking about Peanuts, and I decided, you know what? We can do Peanuts another night, but Calvin Hobbes is usually something that I don't normally see people do. So I figured, why not? Let's do it. So while I'm going to keep Calvin mostly in my style, Hobbes, I want to try to keep him a little bit closer to Watterson's original design. So it'd be a nice little mix mash between the two. So I know that I had stated when sharing the video today, I was going to talk about a couple different things, which, speaking of the sketchbook, I've been asked a couple of times within maybe the last 3 or 4 months when I was going to get around to doing another sketchbook, which is a really good question. And I wish I could say I don't know. Actually, I really do. I am going to try to put one out next year. It's the when part. But considering that it's been about 2 years, or we'll be getting close to that 2 year mark, I think 2024 would be a good idea. But I do want to release a one shot comic through Kickstarter before then, so that these, some added material for the sketchbooks. And I think what I'm going to do is, no, I pulled up a couple of pictures of Calvin Hobbes. Um, in fact, I think I'm going to use this one where they're basically trying to figure out a treasure map. Quickly reverse them. So I think one of the things that I absolutely love about Hobbes' design is that it is, in some moments he's very cat-like, and then other moments he is like a sock monkey. It's just, which I mean, I get it. Yes, he's supposed to be, a stuffed tiger, but it's just the way that his body proportion is. He just looks like he's somewhere between like a sock monkey and great. What's the name of that character from The Lion King? Uh, Timu. I think that's the thing. He just has that same like meerkat kind of build. I was about to say prairie dog. I'm just like, I don't think it's a prairie dog. I think it's probably a meerkat. But anyways, but um, going back to what I was talking about earlier, I am planning on doing a sequel to Between the Lines, and figured that 2024 would be a good time to do that. And yes, it is going to be Between the Lines Volume 2, Electric Boogaloo. Because why not? It rhymes. Now, the one thing about Watterson's style, as far as just whenever he's doing his character, just the black and white alone. Well, first off, as far as I know, I want to say he's inking with just a brush, like no markers, no multi-liners, not even repeated graph. It's straight up using the brush, which I wish that I could be that carefree sometimes when it comes to that kind of um, level of uh, inking with a brush. I just haven't felt like I'm at that point yet. There are some things I can get away with, but most of the time, nope. But for the sake of trying to do some stuff with a brush, I do happen to have both a brush pen and also brush with some ink here, which I will get to that when we get to the inking phase of the night. But yeah, Between the Lines, Volume 2, Electric Boogaloo will happen 2024. And before I want to put that out, I definitely want to put out a one shot comic. More likely, it will probably be about maxi size. I was originally going to be doing something ahead of time. The problem is that knowing me, if I want to do the story the way I want to do it, it's either going to be a situation where I would have to crowdfund 2 or 3 issues, unless it's a story that can get picked up. Great. Uh, but I would be at the mercy of trying to get it advertised in shops and all that. whoever would want to pick up the story. Um, but um, I definitely feel like a one-shot comic great because, like all sketchbooks, the ones that tend to have a little bit more meat on its bones is when you see like behind the scenes stuff, projects that other people. Oh, wait, am I the Green Ranger? All right, but hey, hey, Tots, which I'm actually kind of surprised that you didn't start off with "Hey, you guys." I've been so used to that. You're falling short on me. So, yeah, sketchbook definitely will be happening again. Um, haven't heard as to whether or not if a specific event that was talked about with me in passing is going to happen in October near Halloween time. Um, if it does happen, obviously I'll be definitely talking about that with you guys, which leads me into a completely different thing um, regarding October. But on September 25th, I will be dropping the prompt for Requiem and Reverie, which is going to be 31 days of Gothic and Dark Fantasy sketches. They will all be in black and white. They will all be original, no fan art whatsoever. So, on September 25th, I will be dropping the prompt, and that will be your time to claim dibs. It'll be at the same price like all the other prompts I've done this year, $45. Uh, Free shipping in the continental US. I'm going to try to keep it all in continental US for this, even though I do have to ship off some sketch covers to my very first international customer out in the UK. Hello, Lee, if you are watching. Um, so, uh, that being said, uh, I will be posting about that more within the next couple of days, if not next week, on social media, which technically I think this week would be next week. Look at the calendar. Yeah, I guess. Depends on your state of mind. We got a few more comments. There we go. I didn't know you can make troll pictures. Oh man, that's good. Looks like we've got a steady amount of people actually dropping in. Thank you guys for liking. But if you're liking, please subscribe to Haven Comics if you're watching this on YouTube, or follow me on social media. You can find me there as well. We will get back to this. Yeah. New sketchbook. So this prompt in October, Requiem and Reverie. I'm not intending it to be a anti-Inktober sort of thing. That's not it at all. Um, which, if I was to do like an entire book just off of every single one of those pictures, I couldn't even claim it as Inktober because apparently it's been copyrighted by the guy who spearheaded it, which uh, ended up becoming a bit of a controversial issue a couple of years ago. Here, going back to my so I've heard this fan theory about Calvin Hobbes. Is that Calvin apparently has schizophrenia, which is the only reason why he is the only person to have these long-winded conversations with Hobbes, and he's the only person that can see it. No one else can. Not his parents, not Sally, not whatever the name of the bully. Um, but yeah, it's definitely an interesting fan theory. But at the same time, it's just like that's discrediting kids from ever having imagination. And that was something that um, I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. Maybe I could do imaginary art night. I mean, it could. I don't know. It's all in my head. But it definitely does discredit the whole thing of kids having an imagination or wanting to have I'll make sure I've got the in the way that I'm here. Not sure. So, if you happen to be someone who is following me on Patreon, um, if you have seen the line art for the pitch that me and Reed Beeman have done, um, just saw yesterday for the very first time the final colors and the lettering for the entire 10 pages of that pitch, which all of that will be uploaded on Patreon, hopefully, excuse me, by tomorrow. And it is interesting seeing the colors, which I knew that Reed was looking at a couple different comics that have that feel of I'm not even like this. I'm drawing this arm. Um, Reed had talked about, you know, uh, whenever we were talking about the color scheme and what we were wanting, he had mentioned uh, whenever you really like Hellboy, how it's got a kind of a muted thing going on with maybe a little bit of uh, cheating here and there. It's not much, but you know, the line art kind of does it all. Um, as far as just like the heavy contrast in spaces, and we were all talking about newer stuff like Gotham PD Year One, which if you have not read that, definitely recommend it. Of course, it's Tom King. Um, but it's got that feel in that comic, which we definitely have um, copies of that at the store. Zombie Sandman. Um, Bill, you've got some explaining to do because is this like Sandman as in the Spidey villain Sandman, and he's been zombified like in Marvel Zombies, or that I'm having a hard time understanding this one. Um, or are we referring to like Golden Age Sandman with the gas mask, but he's zombified? Even then, why would he need the gas mask? You got some explaining to do, Phil. So one of the hardest things um, for me to do, as far as let me rephrase my sentence before I say something completely wrong. The hardest thing for me to do as an artist is to uh, draw children and not make them look like they're leprechauns. I guess. Um, Not saying that I spend my time drawing leprechauns. It's just uh, whenever you look at kids, especially when they're like, you know, younger than 10, it's just like their heads are so big, especially when they're babies. It's just giant blob of a head, sausage body, sausage arms, and then when they get older, they still have a giant head, and then body is still small. So it's not until like whenever we grow up past 10, 11, 12 is when we start getting that growth spurt in, and everything starts to even out. So it's definitely a challenge. And then even with these like, super exaggerated body shapes, you still have to, I guess, be conscious in terms of not making characters look like, cheapy anime characters, not making sure that everyone looks like a character. Because how many kids do you know have like a football shoe? Um, Though as a kid, there were several kids that had some big heads. Holy crap! Um, I'm actually gonna keep on fixing this until I like it. So on top of the fact of trying to make sure I can get the hit size right, because Calvin is about, I don't know, 8, 9, maybe 10 years old in the entire series. It's not like other comic strips like, Sally for better or for worse, or even Luann that, where characters actually do uh, grow up, you know, characters that started off as kids when the series first started and now grown adults. things my way, just so I can get this. I'm not budgeting for the same place. That's, so, other things that are happening. I don't remember if I had mentioned this in the last video or not, but really quick one. My penance for eating extremely spicy food before starting this live stream. Um, so me and two other guys that I've been friends with for over a decade, if not at a decade. Uh, we got together um, just out of the blue after 4 years of not seeing each other. Well, with Ruben, I hadn't seen him in 4 years. Andrew, I see him on the fights. You know, all four of us in the same room. It had been about 4 years, and we all played music. So one of those moments where I'm kind of saying that the band's back together, but we're starting a whole new project because we've gotten we've gotten older. You know, our tastes are different. Uh, Looking to do other things. Now being a slave to the trends of the music scene that exists in. I think exactly how. Yeah, the mask on when you turn. I don't really understand it. Is this something that happened during Night Terrors? Because I haven't read any of it, so I couldn't really tell you anything else. Um, the problem is that I'm doing way too much in the month of October, so I don't think I'm going to be able to do any sort of fan art for the month. I'm sorry, Bill. I'm sorry. I failed you. Now, like in that bottom part, I'm gonna leave it. Then All right. Looking time. All right. So that is okay. So it does. So, I know Calvin's a redhead. I'm wondering if I should give myself practice. All right. Now on to Hobbes. So, like I stated earlier, we're going to be drawing Hobbes a little bit closer to the source material, aka Watterson style, at least as close as I can possibly. Not going to be a one for one reproduction. These Hobbes has three fingers and a thumb. Okay, so that's right. Keep forgetting. Consider. So, like most of Watterson's, panels, whenever he was drawing, uh, these two, whenever they're on adventure, they're obviously in some grass, which means this is one of the very few and far times where if they don't have to draw feet, and I'm trying my hardest to not make a Robin. All right. Okay, so it is from 9 characters. Okay. So there is a LCS out from either crap. I'm not sure if they're from Maryland or if they're from New York. They're called Pulp 716, and they had put up a tweet today about gods, the new cosmic uh, Marvel thing that's supposed to be coming out within the next week or so. I think I'm not sure. I'm not subscribed to it. Um, but they were talking about uh, within a year they have lost 58% of their uh, subscribers who have been subscribed to X-Men at some point or another. Some of them as long as 10 years. Um, in which leading into the whole God situation, like very little are even wanting to even subscribe to it, much less read it. And I think part of it was just the price point. The first issue being about 9 which selling a 60-page um, comic for $10, which I have no idea how many issues is going to be in that series. Pretty sure either John or maybe that. I can definitely see where that would be troublesome as far as just, this is your monthly. Because $10 a month, it really shouldn't be that big a deal. But if it's $10 like weekly or bi-weekly for one issue, along with all the other stuff you subscribe to, that can definitely be troublesome. So you have to pick and choose. If you're running on a budget, uh, which comics you're going to read that week. So I can definitely see where that can be an issue. But and this is a just looking at Haven subscribers, there's really only a 2 subscriber difference between Gods and Ultimate Invasion, which are both Jonathan Hickman stories. Now, this is not to say that Hickman isn't a capable writer. He definitely I do think he has a on-running theme of having series where there has to be like a super pale character. I'm not sure what that's about. Um, unless you watched Powder as a kid and was just super inspired by that, he has to have a pale character. That would be my only theory on that one. And of course, Valera Sheedy, if that's how you pronounce his name, uh, obviously a very capable artist, more than capable actually. And he's been on a lot of flagship titles. I know he was on Iron Man for the longest. I know he did stuff with Avengers. Uh, I know he's done a lot of stuff with Marvel, especially the character design uh, within the last 5 years, I think. Um, but I am wondering uh, how much of that is, the price point, and then how much of that is, um, you know, people feeling that they're let down because of a, series that, people have been subscribed to for the longest, and they're really not liking what's happening, most of that being a situation with editorial, which, uh, you know, I know we've lost people from both, X titles and also Basic Spider-Man. Uh, and it definitely sucks. Um, and it's even worse when like the main X characters or Spidey, like the best versions of these characters aren't even heroes. Case in point, um, the Zdarsky Daredevil run, probably one of the best versions you'll ever see of Peter Parker. One of the truest versions you ever see is in the recent Daredevil series. I want to say that was like issue 10 or 11 when him and Captain America are trying to get Matt. Um, but um, I think it's kind of common knowledge of what certain people at Marvel editorial kind of shafted Hickman in terms of not being able to finish what he had set out to do with the X Men, because he was trying to do like a 3-part act, and the problem is that Marvel was only interested in just the first part and milking it and milking it and milking it. That definitely breeds a lot of issues. Which not that long ago, Batman was in the same trouble. For, you know, Tom King did a good job during Rebirth, but Tynan was probably not the person that should have designed that. I think he would have been better off with a different DC character. Um, I would have been interested to see him write either Suicide Squad or what was the other DC character I was thinking. He'll come back to me at some point, but and of course that's just a small opinion. Uh, But I hate the fact that even at Haven, we've also experienced more and more people leaving. Uh, you know, of course, this hasn't been overnight. This has been like a very gradual thing within the last couple of years, especially with me being behind the counter more. Uh, you know, certain people deciding, they decide they're not going to be a part of a certain title that they've been around for the longest. And of course, you've got the completionists that are sticking with it thick and thin with the belief that it's going to get better, and sometimes it does. But I can definitely sympathize with that. But it definitely sucks to see that this is also a common thing with other children's because you want creative things to succeed. You want them to writers, artists, colorists, letters, painters. You want all of them to succeed whenever they put in another student. Yet I am wondering how much of, you know, I guess people's, wanting to leave certain titles is because of their certain decision that editorial did that they probably should not have done. It's not a new story for the big two, or there's I guess superhero fatigue, which makes sense, considering that with the amount of stuff that Disney has been putting out as of late, it could definitely be very fatiguing. Right? But all of this is to say that you know, you want creative teams to obviously succeed, whatever it is that they're trying to put. And it's not to say that all there is to the comics are superheroes or 20 pages stuff. There's more to it than that. So much more to it. Um, I will say in the West, specifically America, that does tend to be a primary focus. But that focus has shifted, and it's not because of manga doing as well as it does with American readers, but um, I guess the concept of what makes a comic, it's just simple to the fact of it is a visual story with pictures that are working in sequence to create something that the eyes can understand. When you really break it down. Okay, so I'm going to get some of these lines. And of course, Calvin does have on his right here. little water break. So, let's go with pops real quick. You know that spicy foods made me a little bit spicy myself. Just after this breakfast. Now, if you've never used a brush or a brush pen, you have to be patient. Not all brushes and brush pens are equal. And what I mean by brush pen, so this one, for example, it has an actual brush tip on it versus, say, this Tombow, which has a bit of a nib. It's kind of plastic-y. And of course, with an actual brush, you do have, works obviously the way that a brush should. Um, Even though this is a Winsor Newton, it is not a Kolinsky Sable, which hoping to get my hands on one of those someday, or if someone decides to, surprise me for Christmas, I will not stop. Um, However, if you do happen to do that, please let me know before you actually buy it, so I can tell you exactly which one is the one you should be buying. Um, but using these, it does involve a certain amount of patience, a certain amount of patience. And you could be totally happy using it. Some sort of effect definitely work to your advantage that way. So on top of uh, you know being reunited with a group of friends that practically like brothers, I've also experienced the opposite regarding friends and friendship this year. Uh, People that you hoped uh, would have been at least forthright in their honesty, which is a very integral thing of friendship. Definitely should be a modicum of trust. Trust together. Each definitely makes you rethink in terms of agreements of being friends with someone. But anyways, I'm saying this because even in the comics, there have been moments where things did not work out well between these two, but at least learn to reconcile and select forth uh, within their life. You might have to move this so I can get this line. There we go. Ooh. So on top of the fact that I had extremely spicy Mexican food before starting the stream, I made a mistake of not reaching for my drink because I was that hungry, and basically didn't really have much of a lunch today. So got to about 5. It's like, oh man, I'm starving. Let's get something quick. Scarfing down this burrito. And, I realized first, we got like, you know, spices and queso and all that sort of stuff, you know, and, salsa mixed in with each other. That moments where it starts to get on your chin. So it's not just uh, your mouth that feels on fire, but also your facial hair. So it was a little bit of a rude awakening at that moment. I'm just like, oh, now that I'm doing this, I wish all of the pieces that I do were this quick to eat. Now I'm starting to rethink things about my life. Think exactly how food. All right, now I get to move over to Calvin. I'm sure I'm looking at the pet path for I don't think exactly how many ways I can go about this. But I think I want to take the easy way out. Do this first. So basically, what I did right here was just go ahead and put down at least the broad strokes of where I think I want the grass to be. And then with the opposite way of it, going back to the legs, filling in where the blades of grass. And this is a little bit of a trick that I've learned guys like Calvin Hobbes, um, Yabashima. There's a couple of manga artists that I know have done something similar to it. I just do not remember. Well, aside from Akihiro Yamada, the person that I am thinking of, I don't remember their name. You know, I know exactly what the manga is, and the two volumes of it are currently sitting at one of the bookshelves. Aside from that, at some point, it's going to vex me until I get back home. It's a worry you get here. The stripes to go. And definitely nearing the finish line here is extremely good. Let's turn it this way. And of course, not Hobbes unless you. Oh, All right, so we're picking up the lines, and we are basically done for tonight. All right, there we have it, ladies and gents. Calvin and Hobbes, cool mix mash styles. And I don't know about you, but I definitely had a lot of fun doing this one. It's definitely a bit of a breath of fresh air to do something like this. And of course, like always, sign your work. There you have it, Calvin and Hobbes. Bill asks, what about doing in the Bloom County? Ooh, Bloom County. Hey, definitely. Bill the Catter Opus. Yeah. Um, man, all the characters in Bloom County, uh, they're all fantastic. Which, if I remember correctly, the creator, um, if you watch the movie Secondhand Lions, you see his artwork um, being used, but it's not Bloom County per se. Um, so, in the movie Secondhand Lions, you see the actor Josh Lucas uh, play a 30, 40 something year old cartoonist, and of course gets a call that his grand uncles at, at were in the hospital, whatever. But when you see in passing through the studio, it's uh, I forgot the name of the cartoonist in Fulton County, but it's his work. See it, and of course you do see it again at another point because the adventures that which Haley Joe Osment plays the younger version, but all of the experiences that he had at that house with the lion and all of that, use that as basis for his work, which Watterson sort of did the same thing with Calvin, which there, with the exception of Peanuts, there really wasn't any cartoon out there that was really doing stuff from like the kid's perspective in comics, and it's just Watterson hit a gold mine by doing Calvin Hobbes. And then because of that, because of its success, that's when you start seeing other getting success too. So that's when you start seeing better performance selling. Then on and so on. So yeah, I'm definitely keep Bloom County definitely that's a very good possibility. Um, definitely for sure, especially Opus. It's just it's so iconic. Uh, I actually remember the strip where he has a crisis of conscience when he realizes that even though he thinks that he's a penguin, uh, his shape or whatever is more closely related to a puffin. And so he has this ginormous identity crisis for about like 2 or 3 strips. Um, and of course, this is all during like the Reagan era and everything regarding that. Um, yeah, which if I remember correctly, Bloom County actually did come back uh, out of, guy came back out of retirement, and uh, man, I want to say this was like maybe during the beginning of the Obama administration, or he may have come back sooner than that. I don't remember, but I have no idea how long he kept up with those strips. But yeah, so uh, big shout out to Geek Out Huntsville for sharing this event on Facebook and also on Reddit. Apparently, I had no idea until Josh did something about it. Um, but I definitely had a lot of fun doing this, especially trying to bridge between Larson's style and of course what I do, and it's definitely interesting. Definitely something that kind of got me on my element just a little bit, and that's definitely what I needed today for sure. So I'm still trying to finish out the sketch covers, which for those of you who are waiting, said Lee, if you're watching this, sketch covers will be sent out to you soon. Super thankful that you are my first international. So give a little round of applause. For that. And I do have 2 other people that still need to do theirs. So don't worry, they'll definitely be out in your way very, very shortly. And of course, if you did not catch during the beginning, I am doing, or if you had not seen, we post this on Facebook or Instagram media. I'm doing a daily prompts in the month of October. It's called what? Oh man, cannot speak. Requiem and Reverie. So it's going to be 31 Gothic and Dark Fantasy sketches. It is all original artwork, no fan art whatsoever. So, sorry, no requests on that. I've already starting to whittle down exactly what it is I'm going to do. Each individual piece is going to tell a story in and of itself with this character in a completely different fictional world, basically. So you're going to be seeing some very interesting characters, and I'm going to see how this one goes. Like all the previous prompts that I've done this year, they will be 45 pop. This time, however, I am going to cater to only people that are living in continental U.S. So if you are, sorry, I just want to try to keep things in house just as for this 1 month, this one time, this 1 month. I would like to keep it there. But yeah, that being said, I will be dropping the prompts for that on September 25th, and it will literally last until, as far as just when people can claim stuff. So your claiming period will be from September 25th until September 30th. So that is 6 days for you to choose which things that you want, have prompts, whatever appeases to you. So, like I said, it's anything and everything gothic and dark fantasy related. So, you know, like creature feature, if you like the things to go bump in the night and the D&D world, stuff like that. Not saying that that's what it's going to be, but if you like that stuff, then that's going to be in your wheelhouse. Yeah, so we are going to end the show tonight with the final bits of housekeeping stuff. Now, I really need to stop saying and stuff at the end of things. All right. Haven Comics, located at 1871 Slaughter Road, Suite F in Madison, Alabama. And please remember to like and subscribe. Every like, subscribe, share, comment, whatever. It does help us out. Do not think that that's just a passive thing that we have to say. It really does help us out. It helps us not only kind of beat the algorithm, it keeps beating us, but every single time that you do that, it actually draws other people in to want to see whatever it is that. So on top of doing this on Sunday nights, Josh and Alan have their own show on Thursday nights called Shop Talk, where they talk about anything and everything in between regarding comics, any special guests that they happen to have within the industry, any movies that are coming out that either they have seen and they will talk about without trying to spoiling anything. So definitely for sure check that out on Thursday nights. If you want to get a sample as to what it is, go on our YouTube page. If you're already on YouTube, well, there you have it. Pause this video, go search right now with previous videos on Shop Talk, in which also Alan does a pick of the week and talk about some of the stuff that has been his coolest for that week, the synopsis in terms of what he thinks about certain stories that he is reading. However, he will be completely biased when it comes to anything AWA, so take that with a grain of salt. Love you, Alan. If you wanted to figure out where you can find me on social media, you can either type in at tpriceartworks on anywhere on social media, or you can just go to my Linktree and you can find stuff there. Unfortunately, Linktree will not let me link in stuff regarding things like Mastodon, Hive, and Blue Sky. So if you happen to have those, just type in at tpriceartworks, you can find me there. But for everywhere else on social media, that is where you can find me. And I also do have a Patreon, which there will be some rewards being put up for this month's stretch. So remember, on Patreon, be sure to keep an eye out this week. That being said, I hope you all had a very good day today, and I hope you have a great rest. See you then.